What's up, guys? It's your girl Latangela with another video, and it has been a long day. Listen, I'm tired. I probably got bags under my eyes, but I told myself I was not going to miss an opportunity to bring you guys some info and another video, and real life as well. So this is my life, and these are the things that I actually do. So I'm going to try to bring you guys a recipe. Hopefully every Friday I can upload a recipe. So if my schedule permits and I don't have an event or something like that, I will try to cook most nights, but definitely on a Friday for you guys. At least have the video uploaded on a Friday so that you guys can get a new quick meal. And so what I was making tonight is shrimp scampi. Now, I know everybody loves their seafood, and it's something that people order frequently. It's also expensive when you do order it, especially from a nice restaurant. And so I wanted to teach people how to make that because it's so simple. I grew up with it. I mean, my mom is from Florida, so seafood is my life. Let me just tell you, I can eat it every night of the week. And scampi was something that my mom made quite often, you know, and it's very simple. It's very quick, especially if you've had a long day. It doesn't even take a lot of prep. These shrimp I have here are not the biggest, and they're also not the freshest. These were frozen, but certain brands of frozen shrimp are pretty good. And again, I know I speak a lot about Aldi, but listen, I'm going to mention them a couple times in this video, actually. But they have some really good shrimp there for the low. And so these are from Kroger, though, and they were just something that I found on sale. And I've had Kroger shrimp before, and I do like them. They do taste fresh. But let me tell you a little hack for frozen shrimp. If you cannot get a hold of fresh shrimp, or the fresh shrimp are expensive, which is what happened recently. Like, I was shocked when I went to Pensacola. I've never seen the price of shrimp that high, even in Winn-Dixie and Walmart. So it was stupid. It was stupid. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. But a hack for frozen shrimp to make them taste more fresh while you are thawing them out in some water. And you know how they're separated while they're frozen, right? So you take out as much as you want if you're alone like me. But you put them in some cold water, not hot water, because they'll start to cook. Put them in some cold water and add some sea salt to that water. And they don't take long to thaw out at all. So even if you forgot to take them out and you got home, you know, you can go in and take a shower, and by the time you come out, they're pretty much thawed out. And they'll thaw out the rest of the way while you're prepping the few ingredients you need to prep. But yes, so let them thaw out in some salty, in some salt water, but sea water. And the reason, I mean sea salt, I'm sorry. Sea salt, you can tell I'm tired, right? Because I just, calm down. Okay. Sea salt. It makes a difference because it's bringing the ocean back to the shrimp, and so it makes it taste more fresh. So that is a nice little trick. It does work. I do it all the time. I actually thawed these out that way. So we have shrimp, we have garlic, I have some green onions here. And these were about to kind of go bad. They were like wilting a little bit because they don't take long. I try not to buy them before I need them, but then when I don't buy them, I need them. So I actually thought I was going to use these a little bit sooner. And all of this produce comes from Aldi, of course, but it did this time. And they were starting to wilt a little bit, and everybody that uses green onions know that the tips go first. And so I just broke off those wilted tips and added them to my scrap bucket here. And you know where they're going. They're going in the bokashi bucket. Also with my shrimp shells, they're going in there as well. And the thing about bokashi, like I told you guys before, is that everything can go, excuse me, primarily in there. I don't know if this is crooked or what. Let me check it. Hold on. It just looks weird to me. It's bugging me out. I don't know if that's going to be crooked, but okay. I'm not sure. Anyway, okay. I'm sure it's fine. I don't know. Okay. Let's just one more time. One more time. Okay. All right. I think that's good. I think that's okay. I feel better about myself now. It was bugging me out. Anyway, so I put them into my bucket, the wilted tips. And the thing about bokashi, like I told you guys before, is that Anything pretty much can go in there except for things that are, of course, metals and plastics and all that common sense stuff. But you don't want something that's already moldy or rotting going in there. Wilting is not the same thing as molding or rotting. So instead of just throwing those in the trash, they're fine to go into the compost bin right now. I don't want to necessarily cook them and eat them, but they're okay to go in the compost bin. So instead of throwing them away. So I have green onions. I have garlic. I have my seasonings over here, which I will get to once I'm seasoning the shrimp. And then I have butter. And I also have wine. And this wine, let's talk about wine for a second, y'all. Let's talk about wine for a second. So many people think that you have to spend a lot of money on wine. I'm sorry, I keep looking in the wrong spot. But anyway, so many people think that you have to spend a lot of money on wine to have a good bottle of wine. And you do not. You do not. I mean, I've had some bottles that are like $20 and $30 that are not good at all. Made me sick and everything. So even the wine connoisseurs of the world will tell you that a $10 bottle of wine can be a great bottle of wine. And in some instances, even cheaper than that. And that's what I am wanting to talk about right now. So this is Douglas Hill. And if you are in an area that has QTs, like Quick Trip gas stations, that's where I have only seen them sold. There might be other places, but the prices have fluctuated a little bit since COVID. I'm not gonna lie, but it was like $3.99 a bottle, 2 for $7. And during COVID, I really discovered this wine because the QT is right by my house, and there were so many things that were closed except for that. And so I was like, okay, I was very nervous. I was very nervous about trying this wine at first because, look, I'm not good with the rot gut. Like, I'm going to spend a little more, especially on liquor, because I think with liquor, it's a little different story. But we're talking about wine right now. But I can't do it. I'm not really like a rock star when it comes to drinking, so I have to be careful. I'll get sick real quick. And so I was nervous, and I'll get a headache as well. But I'm telling you, it is some of the best wine that I have had, especially, I mean, all the variations. Chardonnay, I'm a red drinker for the most part, but I drink white as well. I just drink more red, but I don't really like super sweet wines. If I drink that, I'm going to drink just a glass or two, but mostly reds. But all of the variations have been delicious. And even their Zinfandel, which is normally a little sweet for me, their white Zinfandel, it hits a little bit more like a rosé. I'm not gonna lie. It is delicious. And then Bay Bridge is another brand at Kroger that is amazing as well. Their rosé is actually some of the best rosé I've ever had. And with these guys, their Cab and their Merlot. They're red, yeah. Crazy, right? So anyway, if you don't believe me, give it a whirl. But in my area, it's hard to get it because once they stock up, everybody goes to get it. So it's an amazing wine. I'm going to use Chardonnay for this Scampi today. You can also use beer, and you don't have to use any alcohol at all when you're making Scampi. Like, plenty of times my mom has made it with just some water. She just seasoned that bad boy up real good. Made sure it had, some good vegetables in there, onions. You can also use white onions as well if you like. She would often use the white onions, really. I only have the green onions in there just because I've been craving them lately. I like the flavor of them on the shrimp scampi, but by all means, use which one you prefer. So you don't have to use the alcohol by any means. And of course, if you have kids, the alcohol cooks off, but you can still choose to use the alcohol or not. But tonight we're using it. And then I've got a little water over here to add to the mix as well. And so I've also made this very simple because there are a couple of ways that you can make shrimp scampi, and you can make it your own. If you like a little more heat, if you like a little more seasoning in one area or another, definitely make it your own. This is just the basics, and it's honestly delicious just like this. And some of the best dishes are the simplest, which is why I really like Italian cooking, because they have like 3 ingredients. But it's when you choose the fresh ingredients or the quality ingredients, that makes the difference, of course. But it doesn't take all that, you know, and like a good steak, for instance, you know, if you fry that steak on the stove with salt and pepper, if you started off with a good piece of meat, that is all you want on that steak because you want to taste the meat. You don't want it to be overpowered. So yes, maybe some herbs, butter, but you don't want to overpower that meat. So yeah, so don't be afraid of simple dishes thinking that, you know, I got to do more, because that's oftentimes you do too much and you over season. I also have some asparagus here that I'm going to put into the oven as well. And so we're going to talk about that in a second. But what I wanted to do is show you guys the packaging, because again, this is something from Aldi, and it says Freshire Farms by Aldi, which means they have their own farms. And that's a misconception when it comes to Aldi, because it's affordable. People think that it's just generic and it's low budget food. It's a German company, and they really pride themselves on their ingredients. They really try to stock the store with German products, and if they can't find it, then they'll put the American equivalent. But, you know, I was born in Germany, and my parents love Germany, and they love their food. They love the quality of their food, and I find with even some of their frozen dishes and stuff, there's some delicious stuff in Aldi's. They have amazing wine as well there, and champagne. That's where I go to get my champagne. I love mimosas, and that's where I go to get my champagne, especially if I'm having a party. Everybody loves it. So just knowing those tips about it, I just don't get it, you know, misconstrued. And also they have like beers and stuff that are like Heineken, but it's a different, you'll see, you know, the font or the packaging will remind you of Heineken, and it's not, but it's just as good, or if not better. So don't sleep on Aldi. Let's get to this really quickly though. What we're going to do, and I'm sitting because I haven't got my angles right, y'all. So hopefully I can chop the way I normally chop. If I have to get up, I will. But we're going to take the ends of these green onions off, throw them in the scrap bucket. And I kind of got the scrap bucket idea from Aldi is on the brain. Oh my God. From Rachel Ray, because she always has a trash bucket when she's cooking, right? She's always got a trash bucket, and it just every time I start filming, here she goes. But anyway, Rachel Ray was about, you know, what, 30-minute meals or whatever, and so time saver type deal with her. And so she was like, you know, to save some time, let's put all our trash in this bucket. Shadow girl, come on now. Put all our trash in this bucket, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this straight in the pan that we're going to season everything up in. So that's what I'm going to do with this green onion. I just gave it a rough chop. That's all I'm going to do. I took the ends off and put them in my scrap bucket. But anyway, she would save time with the trash bucket so that you wouldn't have to walk back and forth to the trash, and everything went in there. I started doing that years ago when I first started watching her. It is a great tip. But since I am composting, now I have a scrap bucket versus the trash bucket, because of course when you're at the cutting station or at the cutting board, everything that you're using is pretty much compostable, and so that stuff was just going in the trash before. So now I have my scrap bucket because it goes into my composting bucket. And then, you know, you're not supposed to open that bucket, the bokashi bucket, too often. So if I don't have a lot of scraps, I'll collect it in the refrigerator so they don't go bad. I'll just make a space for a bowl in there with my scraps, and then let them collect. And when it's enough, I will open up the bokashi bucket and add them in. I don't want to mess up the fermenting process too much, because too much air, that's an anaerobic process, which means without air. And so that's why you want to keep as much air out of that as possible, really like no air. You want to open it, put it in, put the bran on top, close it back up tight. And you don't want to keep opening it up like every night to put a little bit of scraps in there. So that's the reason why you want to kind of collect them, and then, you know, go ahead and put them in the bucket when you're ready. And I use the back of my knife to smash off the skin of the garlic. That's another trick that I've learned a long time ago. I used to do it the hard way. I can't even believe I used to do it the hard way. Oh my God, like I don't even know what the way that is anymore. Like, how did I get this garlic skin off before without killing myself? Like, what did I do? What did y'all do? Comment below. I don't know. Tell me what y'all did to get the garlic skin off before you learned how to smash it with the knife If you've learned that before now. Maybe this is the first time you've heard about smashing it with the knife and I just saved your whole life. I don't know. But if, either way, let me know how you used to get it off before you learned that. Because, I mean, we used to make our lives so hard. Like, I remember in my house, we didn't have a vegetable peeler or nothing. We did everything the hard way. Let me tell you. So, and then you smashing it with the knife actually helps you, like, mince it better, you know, easier. Makes all that a little easier. And so, yeah, I'm just going to mince this garlic up. Mince that up. It doesn't even have to be finely minced. All of this can be a rough chop. Now, I can mince it down to the point where it's pretty much paste. But that's unnecessary. But if you hold the knife and sort of rock it like this, this is the way you can, you know, mince it down without a lot of trouble. And chopping, like when I feel like doing it, it's something about chopping that's therapeutic for me. It really is. So I don't mind it so much, but I'm gonna leave this pretty rough just so you guys can see that it's not necessary to do a whole lot. If you don't need therapy, go on and put that thing in there and don't worry about it being too small. Okay, so as far as the vegetables that we're going to be chopping for this, again, I can add, I don't even know if I would add a lot more to this. Like parsley. I would add a little parsley if I had it. I actually juiced my parsley earlier, but I don't need it. And I have dried parsley flakes, which doesn't have a lot of flavor. So normally when I use dried parsley flakes, I will add a little dried oregano flakes with that. That would be good in this as well. We're going to leave it like this because, again, all of that is not necessary, and I don't want you guys to think that it is. When it comes to the asparagus, there is a woody end on this asparagus, and that's kind of like not so pleasant to eat. So what I found is if you snap it, it snaps right where it's supposed to be. Y'all, don't mind me if I keep looking over here. I keep looking at myself, but I'm on my phone, and the little dot is so small that I forget that it's there. So then I just get comfortable and go here. So my bad. But anyway, I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better. Again, something that's going to go into the scrap bowl. So, yeah, so that's a trick. Just snap it. You know, if you want to just sit there and just chop them, you know, line them up and take your knife and run down and kind of guess where it's at, that's fine too. I find the snap is where I like to go with it so I don't waste anything. Again, all about that zero waste over here. And I try to, you know, be conscious of that at all times. So just snap them. It's very easy to snap them. And you end up, and I have a lot of asparagus over here, even though it's just me, because they're very skinny. You know, they vary. It's like whenever you find them, they vary. These happen to be pretty skinny. So I have a lot of asparagus here that I am going to bake them actually. I'm going to bake these in the oven because everything is going in the oven. I don't want to have to turn on multiple eyes or anything. So that's why I thought this would be a good meal for you guys, because if you just want to come home, say you forgot to take something out, literally you could take these shrimp out of the freezer, put them into the salt water, go take your shower, you know, check on the kids real quick, come back, they're pretty much thawed out, chop up these couple little things here and throw them in the oven. Take these asparagus and douse them with a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of lemon zest and juice, salt and pepper. Throw them in the oven as well, which is what I'm going to do, and walk away. Go check on the kids and their homework again. Check on your husband. Make sure he ain't mad about nothing. Whatever. And come back to your meal and it's done. You can also put whatever you want with it. So if you want to add pasta, that's fine. Of course, rice. I actually am doing brown rice over here on the stove. It smells so, I love the way brown rice smells when it's boiling. I just like that grassy kind of, I don't know, so weird. But anyway, I have some really good brown rice over there. I'm trying to flush out some toxins, you guys. Like, I'm not definitely trying, not trying to lose any weight. That's the one thing I don't want to do, which is why I've been so hesitant about flushing out these toxins. I know I need to. I feel it, right? But I'm like, I'm already little and I'm already trying to gain weight. So I am not one that wants you know, anything that's going to take weight away. And so I know maybe it'll start off that way and get better. I just don't know. You know, I just don't know. I have a very high metabolism, and it's not fun, y'all. I don't want to shop in the children's section. Like, people think I'm capping when I say that. They're like, oh my God, I wish I could eat anything. And I'm like, look, I understand that losing weight is hard as well, but just fill me a little bit. Like, gaining weight is hard too, and I want a little sympathy, like a little bit. And just that quick, I snapped all of those. Look, they're already snapped, all of them. Just that quick, I snapped them all. So you don't really have to run a knife through them if you don't want to. And now I'm sure that I didn't really waste anything, you know. So and then, like, again, look how skinny. So I'm going to probably eat most of these. I love asparagus, and what I don't eat, I'll eat tomorrow for sure. So I'm also, one more thing I wanted to add is lemon zest. And I have this little, like, you'd normally use something called a mandolin. I do not have one. And this actually I used to grate, I forgot what I originally used this for. I think it was for like rock salt or something like that. I have a ton of graters in there. This one is just so small. And I just need to zest this little lemon. I really don't want to like mess up a big one. So yeah, you just run it. And the trick about lemon zest is, I'm gonna bring this pan over here. The trick about lemon zest is you just want to just enough. Like, when you start seeing the white, stop, because then it gets bitter. But I find when you put lemon juice in something, if you add the zest as well, it just enhances that lemon flavor. So if you really want it to taste lemony, make sure you add a little bit of that zest as well. And this stuff, it doesn't take a lot. It's very, very strong, very potent. And you notice it, like, I make lemon curd sometimes around the holidays, and oh my gosh, that's when you really know how potent lemon zest is. It's really doesn't take a lot, taste a lot. I mean, take a lot. I'm tired. It really doesn't take a lot. A little bit goes a long way. And it smells amazing. I love the smell of lemon zest. Oh my gosh. So, while I have the pan here, and I already have my oven over there heating up at 375, we're going to take these shrimp, throw them in the pan. Let's add our seasonings here. So we've got a little bit of onion powder, and like, again, you can put more or less or add or whatever. Do it how you want to do it here. I know a lot of people like a little heat. I'm not a big heat person, so we've got a little bit of garlic powder here, onion powder. So the garlic powder, onion powder. I didn't get a lot of that garlic powder. It's like, I don't know, my house is humid, and so my seasonings keep sticking for some reason. I think it was like humidity in here like recently, because it just started doing it. It's freaking me out. But anyway, I have a ton of garlic in here, so that little bit was fine. And black pepper. Again, you can eyeball it. I don't have to measure anything. It's unnecessary. What else do I have over here? I have a little bit of adobo. I love adobo. It's a seasoning by Goya. They have a couple different variations. I love them all. And be careful, because it does have salt in it. So I don't have any salt over here at all. Like, I don't need any more because the adobo has salt in it. And I have a little bit of obey here. And this is the garlic and herb obey, because I ran out of my regular obey. So I have some other seafood seasoning here. That's like a special one. This one is super salty though. So I'm going to put this in my hand because seafood is so easy to overpower with seasoning. And I don't really want that at all. So actually, that was too much. So I put some of that in the bowl. So I'm going to take my hands, mix all this up. Take your hands and mix it all up. Get it all good up in there. So all you gotta do, you can add a touch of olive oil to this if you want, but I will not, because I have a ton of butter going in this mug. And so I'm gonna roll this lemon. Actually, yeah. You know what I'm gonna do? I may have to use another lemon. I want to zest some of this lemon over my asparagus, because I know I'm gonna want some of that zest. And if I cut it, it's just going to make it harder for me to zest. So I'm going to go ahead and hopefully this, I should put a little olive oil on it so that the zest could stick a little bit better, but it's okay. We'll just do it like this. Everything's going over there. The rice is the thing that takes the longest. So if you got, you know, brown rice, or you got a rice cooker, you can already have that going. If you want brown rice, it does take a little bit longer. So you might want to go ahead and put that on before you do anything else. And then take the shrimp out of the freezer if you have the frozen shrimp, or maybe you have fresh shrimp already. And rolling the lemon loosens up the flesh so that the juice comes out a lot easier. And then you can hold your hand out to catch the seeds and just let the juice fall in. I'm only going to do half this lemon right now because I want some of it to cook in there, and then I want some fresh on top. So there were no more seeds in there, so I can just do the rest like that. Alright, now what do we need? Oh, I forgot one more seasoning. So sazon. Let's talk about this for a minute. So I love sazon. I use the colored one. There's one that colors your rice, like yellow rice. I think it's what cenachote it says on there. This is no, this is cenachote. Con culantro, I think is the other one. Con culantro. Anyway, that one colors your rice. This one does not. But ooh, I just want a little touch of this, because if you know anything about sazon, it has a little bit of that umami in it. And umami is like that thing, if you don't know. I'm just assuming that there's somebody that might not know. But that umami is like the thing, like that kind of, you get that chicken broth that's like really right, you know, that's really seasoning, that really has like the vegetables in it, that really has that stock taste that you're looking for. Like when you think about chicken soup or chicken broth, that taste you're thinking about is that umami. It's that thing. And so this has a lot of umami in it. And it'll overpower really fast. And so you really don't want a lot of it. I just put a pinch because I kind of balance out my seasoning. Some things I kind of want a hint of in the background. And as you start to learn your seasonings, if you're just starting to cook, you'll get that. So it's just, I don't know. Like, I just know how to do it. Sometimes, like, there it is. You know, a pinch would have been too much. A pinch more would have been too much. You'll know. And so I don't want that much of this sazon in there. There's also a debate going on, y'all, about whether or not this is that good for us anymore. So I really try to be easy with it because I used to put it in damn near everything. But I did fall back a little bit because I did find that it was overpowering. Some things it wasn't bad. It was delicious and everything, but it just kind of altered the flavor of the meat sometimes, or the protein, more than I wanted it to. So I had already started to lean back just a little bit, because I was putting it in absolutely everything. But I've started to hear lately that it might not be as good for us as we once thought. And that happened with the seasoning accent as well. And I know for my family, we all took it out of our pantry. So, you know, I try not to be paranoid about stuff, but it's kind of like, come on. If it's an easy fix, if it's like better safe than sorry, and it's really not that big of a deal to kind of alter that behavior or replace it with something, then just do it. It's not that serious. Some people just like to argue though. I swear. So yeah. Anyway, and with seafood, you don't want to necessarily season this up, especially the salt part of it, too soon, because seafood starts to cook, and the citrus as well will start to cook it. So you really don't. If you put it in the refrigerator, an hour max is fine, especially for shrimp this size. And if you got something a little bit bigger, it still shouldn't take more than an hour or two for them to marinate if you really want them to. It's just not necessary, but you will start to cook them and over marinate seafood. So beware of that, especially adding the salt and the citrus. If you want to add the other stuff earlier and then towards the end add the salt and the citrus, that might be a good idea. Okay, so we have that. Now we're going to add the wine. And so I'm just going to eyeball that, just kind of sprinkle it around, pour it around. That might be not even a half a glass. I don't know. And then I'm going to add a touch of water to this as well. I just like to do that. It just kind of dilutes it just a little bit. The wine, you know, you're going to taste the wine. It's not going to be alcohol in that, but you're going to taste it. And then once you get that juice in there, you might want to add a touch of salt, you know, and that's why I haven't added any more salt at this moment, because we'll see. And when you over season it, you're just like devastated. You're like, what the hell? Oh my God, I don't even taste shrimp no more. All I taste is salt. It's ridiculous. So you don't want to do that. And then I have a stick of butter here. And so I'm going to put most of this in there. I'm going to leave a little bit for the asparagus. But yeah, you want a lot of butter in your scampi because that's what helps make the sauce. So that's the good part. And again, the only other thing I would add to this is some fresh green parsley. And you can add a little bit now and then a little bit when you finish, along with the rest of the lemon juice. And I'm probably going to get another half of a lemon for the asparagus here. So a lemon and a half is probably what you need for this meal if you want lemon on your asparagus. If not, all you need is 1 lemon. You can leave the lemon out also if you like. Some people don't like lemon on their seafood, and I really don't know why. I'm confused by that. I ain't gonna lie. It confuses me when I hear people say they don't like lemon on their seafood. What? But anyway, I digress. You do not have to add the lemon to this. The wine is delicious. The other thing I will say about this is do not add super sweet wine to the shrimp scampi now. Don't just add anything to it, because if all you have is some Moscato in the refrigerator, I just leave the wine out. Or I would put a touch and add mostly water just so I can have that hint of wine flavor in there. Again, when you can add beer as well. Both of them are very good. It's just a different alcohol flavor. But, well, I don't like to say alcohol because it cooks off. But it's a different flavor, but they're both delicious. I make them both ways all the time. So the beer and the wine both are delicious, and you can, again, do without. So that's it for that. I'm going to set this aside really quickly. And then I'm going to just take care of this asparagus. And so the only thing I'm going to do with this, and the only thing I forgot to bring over here, you guys saw me add the zest of the lemon already. I'm going to go ahead and hold my hand again and add some lemon juice, because I do want the lemon juice on the asparagus. And I want to taste the asparagus. I want to taste the freshness once again. So for this, the only thing that I'm going to do is salt them and pepper them, and put some olive oil and a little bit of this butter that I have left. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. That is all I'm going to do to this asparagus. 1 second, I forgot the olive oil. So this is Trader Joe's olive oil. Let me tell you, this big bottle was like $7.99 and it's delicious. Trader Joe's is another one of my top 3 stores. So you hear me talk about Aldi all the time, but I haven't even gotten started with Trader Joe's. Please don't get me started. So anyway, yes, so I'm just going to, and it comes with the spout, which is the other cool part. It comes with the spout. It's plastic. It looks metal. It's plastic, but it does come with that. So I really appreciate that. And then I have some Himalayan pink sea salt. And I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of that. Another tip is that if you have a diet that restricts you from having a lot of salt, and you really love your salt, try using lemon juice, especially lime juice though. Lime is really the go-to when it comes to a salt substitute. It will enhance the smallest pinch of salt. So if you put lime, and I love the taste of lime juice on my food, especially when there's cumin, or if it's, Hispanic dish or something like that. I will definitely, I love some lime on most of my dishes. So it's delicious. If you haven't tried it, try it. It's also a great life hack for people that need to reduce their sodium. So that is another tip. Anytime I think of stuff, I'll try to remember to tell you guys, because it's such a, sometimes it's so devastating, right? Like when a doctor is like, you can't have this, you can't have that, and you're so used to it. Because I know some people that love their salt. I like seasoning, but I'm not. Some people are so crazy about their salt. I'm like, that's too salty though. I can't even taste the food anymore. But they love their salt, and it's devastating to them though when the doctor says, hey, you need to slow down, or you got to cut this completely out. And so there's ways. I'm sprinkling a little bit of this water in here, just so it doesn't cook too fast, and it can steam just a little bit in the oven. Because again, all of this is going in one oven at 375. Done. I'm out of here. Rice is already over there cooking, and I have that going now too because it's brown rice and it's going to take a little bit longer, not too long, not the variation that I have, but I want to make sure it's done. And yeah, so I have that going already. And my shrimp scampi is here. Smells good. Like, this smells so good already. It smells like shrimp scampi that's cooked and done. You want to eat it like right now. And then I have asparagus right here that I have just poured some olive oil, drizzled some olive oil on, added some salt and pepper, and I use pink Himalayan sea salt. This is Trader Joe's as well. And butter. That's it for that. Snapped off those ends, put them in the scrap bucket. In the shrimp scampi, we've got green onions, garlic, butter, and seasonings, and lemon juice, lemon zest. That's it for that. So all of this is going into an oven, 375, and what you want to do is watch for the shrimp to turn pink. Do not overcook your shrimp. Once they go in there, watch them. When they start to, they're translucent right now. Once they start to turn opaque, flip them over, saute them around, make sure they're fully pink, but watch them. Because as soon as they turn pink and opaque, take them out. Because they're going to stay that way. They're not going to brown or anything. Well, they might if they stay in there long enough. But they're going to continue to cook. And they're still going to look pink and opaque. But they're going to be like erasers. Like, literally. Like pencil erasers. It's the worst thing in the world. You don't want chewy shrimp, especially when they're this small. But even some of the big ones, though, you definitely don't want those to get tough. Because I've had some really jumbo shrimp they look delicious, but I overcooked them. And I was so mad at myself because they were just so chewy and like, oh, like you want that succulent, soft shrimp, just enough bite to it. You know what a good shrimp tastes like. You want the sweetness of the shrimp to remain. You just don't want to overcook a shrimp by any means. No seafood, really, honestly. Seafood does not take long. That's why this is a good hack if you are, crunched for time. So anyway, I'm going to take both of these, put them in the oven, add the rice. And that's probably all I'm going to eat. I might add a piece of bread to this, but I'll show you once it's out of the oven, and that's it. This has been in the oven for about 10 minutes now, and it's just about done. Depending on the size of your shrimp, the time can vary, but 10 to 12 minutes should do it. The asparagus is on top, the shrimp is on bottom, and they are absolutely perfect. They're pink, opaque, and I tasted one, and they're delicious. I didn't need to add any more salt. So as you can see, it doesn't take much. Here's the finished product. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And if you want to hear more about grease bags, visit our website.